Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session to meditate together. No matter where you are at this moment, it's been great for you to give yourself the space and time to turn inward, to understand the mind a little more. Life is a journey, isn't it? To live a life is to meditate. To some extent, it's to explore, to learn, to steer the life through this journey. What is meditation? It's been a question not asked so often by people. Because most people on this planet are living in ideology. Ideology means all kinds of mental construct, specifying what should do, what should be, what should become. All kinds of ideations. In such a mental construct, people are living in a way mechanically. The trouble, the challenge, the all kinds of misery from life is also very mechanic. So people want to find a solution to it. Hopefully to get rid of all these miseries, all these troubles. So people keep seeking methods, seeking solutions to these life challenges. And meditation or spirituality or something which is beyond the name has been sought by people years by years, centuries by centuries, in the hope of to finish these miseries. But few people really question the way we are living. Why are we living in such a very mechanical way? And people have similar responses in the same culture, react to something similar, behave in a similar way. There's a pattern, obviously. And now the artificial intelligence is also catching up to emulate the patterns of the human minds. Just like for most people, one is so keen on the method to get oneself rid of these old challenges. But rarely does one question or ask, what is life? What is meditation? What is? When one's mind is really stuck in what should be, one couldn't notice what is. What should be means a series, all kinds of mental images, thoughts, rules, all kinds of strictness, all kinds of control, all kinds of efforts, all kinds of ambitions, all kinds of illusions, imaginations. When the mind is stuck in that thought, so to speak, one is disconnected from the nature. To see everything clearly. Life has been so simple, right? If you just look at it. There's no explanation. There's no interpretation. No theories. Just look at life. The life should have been so simple. But are we really looking at it? Every time we look at something, the thoughts immediately takes over, isn't it? Just like when one is walking in the park, there's a very huge, very tall tree over there. Can one really look at the tree without being stuck in thoughts, in imaginations? When one really looks at the tree, just look at it. There's no name about the tree. But when one began to think about, what's the name of this tree? What kind of species does this tree belong to? How tall the tree is? Wow, what a beautiful tree. Is one really looking at the tree? Or has one fallen into thoughts already, immediately? This situation or scenario has been repeated so many times in the life, isn't it? We look at the person through the titles, the positions, ideologies, thoughts, faces, body, gestures. Can one really look at one person without these thoughts or interpretation or judgment or whatever? The very way to look at everything as it is the way to meditate. If we really give full attention to one thing, like a tree in the park, or people or person around you, full attention means not being stuck in thoughts. If one is carried away by thoughts, by all kinds of words, interpretations, one isn't giving attention, full attention to the thing one is watching or looking at. Can we look at things just simply? If we can't, probably need to question why we can't. And this is the beginning and also the ending of meditation. Probably for most people, one of the most difficult things is to look at themselves. That is very hard. Can we look at ourselves as we are? There's no point to say yes or no. We need to inquire into this question. Can we really look at ourselves objectively as we are? Why is it so challenging? Why every time we look at ourselves, there are so many self-reactions? Just like when you are looking at the mirror. Or take a selfie in the mobile phone. If you recognize yourself in the photo, in the mirror, you are not watching yourself. Because the very recognition means knowledge, means having known. Having known means thoughts. If you can recognize yourself in the photo or in the mirror, it means that you have already accumulated some images, have accumulated some knowledge about yourself, which blocks you from looking at yourself objectively. It's a very subtle process, but it is very important. In this journey we call meditation, or in this journey we call life, a simple life. In daily life, we are able to recognize so many people around ourselves, right? Friends, classmates, workmates, families. How can you recognize them without those accumulated thoughts, images? Here, we just question it. It's not about recognize or not recognize, but to inquire into this, to get insight about this very subtle, but seem to be very important and related to our in exploration. To look at ourselves as who we are implies that we need to let go any images about the self, so we can meet ourselves afresh at this moment. Without being carried away by thoughts, images, the past about me, either something pleasurable or something painful. It's about the past. Can I look at myself not through the past, not through some imagination? Can I meet myself at this moment afresh? And this is the way to meditate. The only way, the ultimate way to meditate. When I find it difficult to look at myself, I have to inquire further into the self-reaction. Why do I react to it? Why do I get stuck in that reaction? So I can no longer watch myself. if we are doing this, to look at the reactions, actually we are still looking at ourselves, right? To understand why the self is so sensitive, why the self is so neurotic, why the self has triggered so much reaction, and why the self is creating so much mischief. This is the way. This is the journey of meditation. Can we meet life afresh at this moment without being blocked by the thoughts, by the past, by the imaginations about the future, which is still the projection of the past? So before we continue the journey today, please sit here with me together to keep silent for 3 or 4 minutes. Then we come back for the journey. Let's look at the relationship. The human relationship. It seems that almost everybody has so many different types of relationships with different people or different things. But has one questioned or asked, what is relationship? Does one have a real relationship or not? Is a relationship a concept? Probably as most people think or act in a way that the relationship seems to be a concept. Defined by people in different ways. Or is relationship something totally different from that? Something beyond thoughts. Relationship means the relation between, for example, two things, or one thing or the other thing. It can be the two persons. It also can be one person and thing, so to speak. We are living in relationships, are we? People around one, things around one. Without relationship, we can't really know ourselves. To know ourselves in such a society, no matter which society you are living in, we have to see it through relationships. Probably that's the only mirror we can use to understand ourselves. When we're talking about relationship between two entities, it means that these two entities are mentally independent. If they are mutually dependent, is that still a relationship? For example, if one is so in love with money, buying houses, owning all kinds of estate, when even a rabbit running through his estate, he can be very angry. In that situation, does that guy have a relationship with the things he's owning, he's having? He is so attached to the things he is having. Actually, he is the thing, right? He is the estate. He is the money. because he has identified himself with all the things. Even a rabbit walking through his estate, he can be angry because the self has been triggered, because all the estate is his self. It means that there's no relationship between him and the estate, because he is the estate. Relationship, either between two persons or between one person and thing, implies freedom, independence, non-attachment. Look at this, the human relationship on this planet. We have defined the unconsciousness different types of relationships, families, romantic relationship, or whatever. Without the awareness, the human being has fallen into this problem of thinking, thoughts, excessive thoughts. For a wife and a husband, or for two persons who are living together, if one has the image about the other, and the other also had the image about the one, the name, the title, all kinds of romantic scenes, all kinds of pleasurable thoughts, impressions about the other. Is there a relation between these two persons or not? Or is there a relationship between the two images? People are living in thoughts. So the relationship is inevitably in thoughts, purely conceptual. In this conceptual relationship, people suffers a lot, right? The image is fixed, but the mind is always in a dynamic change. The conflicts is inevitable. People are changing. The image is still there. There's a mismatch between the fixed image and the change of the person. All kinds of reminiscence feelings. It's also about this kind of attachment to the image of the past. Can we be aware of this? Of these illusions arising from the conceptual relationship? Through this image making, we are creating images about others. Others are doing the same to us. And we are creating the relationship between these images. It seems that those images are the proxies of us. But between you and me, we are not really in touch. We are seeing each other through these images, deriving pleasure from the relationship, between these images and also get hurt from the relationship between these images. Such a life, which is full of all kinds of conceptual relationship, is inevitably an everlasting battlefield, with the inexorable conflicts, miseries, troubles, issues, problems. So one may ask oneself, can one really free the mind from those stuff? Can one stop the image making completely, immediately? So one can see the other person as they are. Can we see each other as who we are separately? Can we have the real human relationship, not through images, but actually in actuality? Can we really work out the thoughts to live at this moment? Because the relationship can only exist at this moment. When it's past, when we still cling to the past, it is becoming a concept. For most people, they are living in the past all the time, right? So the relationship is inevitably a concept. If all people, all nations let go the past immediately, then all the relations are restored. The killings disappear. The competition, all kinds of mischief disappear. So can we meet life afresh, as we said quite a few times today in the session, to let relationship only exist at this moment? To not let the relationship destroyed by the past, by the images. Can we keep the relationship as fresh as possible? Actually, freshness implies now. If we can't tear off all of these images, how can we look at ourselves? How can we look at ourselves as who we are? Why one can recognize oneself in the mirror? Isn't it because one has the image about oneself? So the recognition means the image pop up from the memory for one to recognize. If we put a mirror in front of animals, and animals can't really recognize oneself at first. For a young baby, when you put a mirror in front of baby, the baby also can't recognize oneself until one begin to accumulate images, thoughts. Then this recognition process takes place naturally. Well, probably it's called naturally, but in a way a human has created, right? So to meditate, it means that we need to face these issues. Never run away from it. Never explain it. Never explain it away. Never interpret it. Just look at the things around us. To look at the reaction to the images, which are the self, right? What is the self? Isn't it? The self is a bunch of images, thoughts. When we find it difficult to look at ourselves, because the immediate reaction to the image hijacked one immediately. The pain due to the reactions, making it difficult for one to observe oneself. Can we look at this reaction? Not run away from it. Not explaining away from it. Just look at the reaction. Look at how ridiculous to hold this image for such a long time. For many people, maybe years, maybe a lifetime. Why can't I drop the image immediately and move on? What's the point of collecting all these images, either pleasurable or painful, until the very last moment of the physical body? These questions deserve contemplation, deserve meditation. And it's the journey of inquiring into these issues, these big questions. In the greater, the lesser is. In the lesser, the greater is not. Through these great questions, the great issues, we can understand all of life challenges immediately. But if we only care about all kinds of small issues which pop up on a daily basis, we never touch the whole picture of life, the totality of life. So to meditate is to get out of the small issues immediately, to look at these big issues. Without solving these big issues, all the small issues pop up on a daily basis. Most people spend the time solving the issues all the time, but the issues never stop. It's like when you get lost in the forest, one still keep walking and searching, and one is more and more confused. If one really lost in the forest, can one stop seeking immediately? Can one quieten the mind down first? So, to be able to see the things clearly, see the directions clearly. And this is the true meditation. There's no method, no systems, no tradition to follow. It's totally up to you to find out a way. So now it's time for us to meditate for 10 minutes. And after that, if people have some questions or something want to broach, we can discuss briefly. And now, let's follow the audio guide to meditate. Now, let's take a 10-minute meditation. Start by taking a moment to find a comfortable position to sit in a posture that you feel relaxed and get alert. Let hands rest on your knees or laps. Let the eyes close gently. Soften your forehead. Act a soft smile in the corner of your lips. Breathe naturally. As you breathe in, be aware that you are breathing in. Feel the sensation of breathing in. The region can be the nostrils, can be the belly, can be anywhere. Focus on the part you feel most. As you breathe out, be aware that you are breathing out. Feel the sensation of breathing out. The region can be the nostrils, can be the belly, can be anywhere. Focus on the part you feel most. Fix your attention on the breath. Let go of any thought, words, images. This moment, nothing is more important than breath. while you are listening to the bell. Check where your attention is. If it wasn't on the breath, after the bell, gently invite your attention back to the breath and sustain your attention on the breath. Slowly bring your awareness back to this room. Feel into your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. When you are ready, open your eyes. Hopefully everybody can get some peace of this 10-minute meditation. So now by the end of the session, we have a little time left. So it's a time for questions or for anything people want to inquire or speak or ask.
Can I ask something?
Yeah, of course, Ari.
No. In order to... Okay, it's very difficult because the mind is always running. It's difficult to stop. So in order, I guess, to do some progress on that, you need quite a lot of meditation, right? Not 10 minutes, but quite a lot. So what is your recommendation? Like every day? How long is good?
It really depends
like a balance.
Yes. Yeah, I get a question, but it's really up to us, you and me, to understand what is meditation. Do we understand meditation as a method, or do we understand meditation as a lifestyle? It might be difficult to think that, oh, how can I let thoughts to stop? Can I control the mind to stop thinking? If I can, who is the controller? Isn't still the controller the self, the me, still the thoughts? So the question is not to stop the thoughts, because which seem to be very superficial, which is easy to understand. But deep inside is, how can I live a life without the self? Because self is the center of all the thoughts. And the self itself is also the thoughts, the combination of all the thoughts, mental images, the past, whatsoever. So to have the thoughts stop, which means meditation, which means, can I have a proper perception about life? In that perception, I'm not overtaken by thoughts. Can I feel that? Can I perceive that? The self does not exist. It's not about thinking, oh, I'm thinking the self does not exist. It's still in the thoughts. But can I perceive that the self, oh, it's nothing. The self is such a little thing created by the mind, the chaos mind. So to have that perception, or the process to have that perception is to meditate, which means that we have to give full attention at each moment to notice what I said, what I'm thinking, what kind of mental actions I'm taking. I'm comparing, I'm fantasizing, I'm judging. With that attention at each moment, this whole life has become a meditation. To have the proper perception aroused, then everything will take place truly naturally.
So it can happen anytime to perceive this way.
Yes. So if I found it, why this moment I can't perceive it? It must mean that at this moment, my perception has been distorted by some thoughts. Am I holding on to some images, thoughts, illusions, which hijack my perception, which is distorting my perception at this moment, so I can't perceive the truth? And this is the awareness. To be aware of the moment we are not aware. And this whole process is in meditation. Of course, personally, it is quite helpful, important to sit down to meditate, to give some time, space every day to deeply quieten down the mind. But for most time in life, we can't keep sitting down in this way. So we have to bring the awareness to life at each moment. To give up the pleasure of the thoughts totally. Because when we are able to observe the mind, the self, objectively, there's a kind of a innocent pleasure, which is joy, the joy of life. I hope this kind of explanation might get something across to you, hopefully.
It is very good explanation. I like it. I had another question, but when we meditate and we follow the breath, I listened to one of your past talks. You said something, you must have awareness together with focus. So you focus on your breath, but you are aware of the thoughts,
you are focusing on the breath.
Everything else.
Yes. It's inclusive, everything. So
you are
at that moment, when you are meditating in that way, it means that everything is included. You are not excluding anything. Oh, I should concentrate on the breath. That's the activities of thoughts. It's not a meditation. But instead, we include everything. Even that could be some sound around me. Okay, I listen to it, but I don't react to it. I still focus on breath. But everything around me is in my awareness. So it's more about, it's like to embrace everything. Embrace everything. Because when the thoughts...
if you have some emotion...
Sorry? If
you have some emotions, for example. If you have some emotions, for example. Emotions like fear or anger.
Fear, anger is something we can to talk about next time, because that's also a big topic.
Yes.
But in brief,
Yes.
fear, worry, or whatever is still the reaction to thoughts. When meditating, when this kind of emotion pop up, it means that the thoughts are still functioning on the mind, and one still reacts to the thoughts, which fear, worry actually is all this kind of self-reaction. The thing is that to focus on breath means that still feel the sensation of breath. At the same time, don't exclude, accept everything at this moment. Fear, worry, whatever. Just look at it. Just be aware of that, but don't exclude it. In this way, we are creating an environment to observe the self objectively. As long as we have this kind of a tendency to exclude, the self is still there to resisting to this stuff, and we can't meditate anymore. So no matter what happened during the meditation, all kinds of emotions, they are all the consequence of the thoughts, the reaction to thoughts. One can do is to do nothing, not to judge, not to exclude, just doing nothing. Just embrace everything, which we call non-doing. And still give your full attention on the breath and be aware of everything around you. It might be challenging, I don't know, at the beginning, but as you practice more, do it, you will see the change.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Great. And that's the end of the session. And thank you for everybody being here tonight to spend a wonderful 1 hour session together to meditate. And I really appreciate that you could give the attention to meditation, to the inner world. And hopefully this spirit can continue in your life. Please carry on this journey of inner exploration. And hopefully everybody can stay peace, joyful, and also safe at this moment. Your life is only at this moment. That's everything. Again, and take care, and hopefully see you guys again in the future sessions. Have a wonderful day or night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.